Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Tom Sofield. I'm the publisher of LevittownNow.com, and we're hosting this Facebook Live to talk about and clarify and answer some questions about our recent reporting, our first story last December, and our recent 1,600-word story on the threat of lawsuits and recent issues in the Pennsbury School District that have been coming to light, and it looks like will be continuing to come to light. Our most recent story took about 6 or 7 months of research and work and filing right to know requests. And we have more stories coming on it. We have additional rights to know requests for filing. We're right now waiting to see if the school district will comply with a decision from the Office of Open Records to release some records we've requested. And we'll also likely be filing another appeal with the school district to try to obtain further records to further our reporting. And I just want to start with some background on the two stories we published, the first one in December of last year, and the second one just this past Sunday morning. We first learned of EEOC complaints and allegations of problems in the district late last year. These problems stemmed with Superintendent Dr. Brizola, dysfunction in the school board, and some of the top administration and the cabinet members. And this all started in late 2018. We began to look into it. Speak with sources, review documents, try to dig up as much as we can. At the time, we were under the impression that Dr. Brizola wasn't going to stay in the district. There was kind of this air of public mystery as to why he might be leaving. They couldn't come to terms on a contract. There was this simmering feud between the two factions of the board, and you could sense it, but nobody really knew publicly what was happening. In hindsight, it's become a little more clear. At the time, I worked to get the story together, thanks to some help from our In the Know Club members who helped support us, along with our really great advertisers. And we published our first story the day of the school board meeting, where the district and the school board ended up voting to give Dr. Brizola a new contract. And this came again after it appeared that he previously was going to leave the district at the end of this year. We later learned that the school board pretty much rushed together an agreement and announced it the day of that they were going to vote on it, and they extended his contract through 2023 and gave him a pretty significant pay raise even after these EEOC complaints, which again are allegations and haven't been proven in a court of law, had been lodged against them. We emailed the district a pretty detailed list of questions, followed up, and we did get a response at that time from the solicitor. For our most recent story, we didn't end up hearing back from the solicitor or the majority of the school board, and the only school board members we did hear back from were declining to comment, which I can assume would be at the advice of the solicitor of the district. In the days after our first story ran in December, there were these rumors that cropped up that Levittown Now had, in quotes, retracted the story, or that I had told people in the community that my sources had lied or burned me, and I wasn't able to confirm it, and we were going to remove the story. I can definitely say we haven't retracted any details from any of the stories. We've since found further documents to back up the allegations made in the original story. And so far, I've likely reviewed or have in my possession more than 100 documents, with many of them obtained through a right to know request through the district, that give more credence to these initial allegations and the fact that these lawsuits exist. One of the rumors was that they were settled and this was all a done issue. I can confirm this is definitely not settled, and this isn't over. It seems like these lawsuits are going to be filed. One of my questions is how much. I always think as a journalist, part of my job is to kind of be an advocate for the taxpayers. That's why we have a lot of coverage of how the government's spending your money, whether taxes are going up or going down, or whether districts are borrowing or townships are borrowing. And that's one of the big questions. How much could this cost the district, and how much has it so far cost the district? We know at least so far it's more than $10,000, likely further, because that's not including many of the lawyer fees. One of the other things, a rumor that we had heard that school board member Jackie Brenner was all behind this, and she had orchestrated our whole story. I can confirm, right after the first story, I had told people this. Jackie Brenner had declined to comment. She was not involved with orchestrating the story, or she declined to comment. She didn't want to say anything. I was moving on to the questions asked by readers, and there were some really good ones. The first one was, how does the EEOC work? The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is a federal agency. They oversee workplace discrimination and retaliation related to previous complaints. The first step in the EEOC process is employees file a charge, a claim with the EEOC. Then the EEOC will investigate, and they'll review documents, and that can even lead to site views for interviews to determine what happened. From there, the EEOC will either put out a right to sue notice that allows the employees to sue their employer if they find some merit, or they will dismiss the case. The EEOC can go further by trying to attempt to reach a settlement or mediate with the employer and the employee, and they can even refer the case to the Department of Justice, the Federal Department of Justice, who will see if there's enough for the federal government to bring their weight behind and file a lawsuit against the employer. Another question, which I thought was very fair from a reader, was, why would you publish your stories without all the documents being made public? In our initial story, we didn't publish a lot of documents related to it because at that time we had various sources where they were coming from. In this case, we had, as I said, more than 100 documents I've reviewed and have copies of that I was able to include. So the decision was a bit ethically and personally. I didn't feel comfortable publishing many of the documents in their full form, as they included allegations and claims that I wasn't able to verify to a standard that we used to publish. And one of the other reasons was to protect my sources. And just some background on the reporting process. It's not that we just hear something and we report it. We have a legal standard that we follow where we need to get documents to verify it, or have, the goal is at least 3 sources to second what was said. And I've always kind of worked hard to protect my sources, and I'm pretty confident I've done a good job doing that. So this is just one of those steps. Believe me, what you're reading, we have more than that, and we have more documentation to back up those claims. Like I said, again, this case hasn't gone before a judge, and the full investigation hasn't been released, so there's still more information that could come to light or come out about this. And a lot of people had asked, why don't we post the full EEOC complaints? And that is similar to what I previously said. I also don't have copies of all the EEOC complaints. While I've reviewed a lot of information and documents, I don't have all the information that I could release. Several people asked if there were witnesses to Dr. Brizola allegedly using a pejorative term in front of administrators, or is it only a he said, she said, or he said, he said? Yes, there's additional claims that those words were stated in the $8,000 11-page report compiled by the Chester County IU and Dr. Joseph O'Brien, which we included part of in our story. It mentions the meetings and multiple witnesses he talked to who mentioned the meeting and their concerns over it. That report was commissioned by the school district, sent to the school board, sent to Dr. Brizola, sent to top administration. And the EEOC complaints also back up some of the comments made in the Dr. O'Brien report. And a question we got a lot of, some people were asking, when will the lawsuits be filed? I'm not sure the exact date, to be frank, but I can confirm that the district and its lawyers have had meetings recently and in the past, but more recently extended meetings about the lawsuits and allegations, and sources have told me those lawsuits will be filed relatively soon. Why did the school board vote to rehire Dr. Brizola again after they knew of these EEOC complaints? Some people were saying to them that showed that the whole situation didn't make a lot of sense. I can't give you a clear understanding necessarily why the school board hired. I'm still unable to confirm to a level that I feel confident publishing the details, but I do know that the Levittown Now story that was published in December did play a role in moving that up quicker, because previous to that, publicly, it kind of seemed like he wasn't going to be at the district past the end of the year. So unfortunately, initially, while a few school board members did reach out, they declined to comment. The school board president, T.R. Kanan, didn't answer my calls leading up to that story. And for the latest story, the district, the solicitor, the superintendent, and pretty much the majority of the school board didn't respond for comment. The ones I did hear from all declined comment, and I would assume that would be at the request of the district solicitor, considering there's pending litigation. But I think it was a little disappointing not even to hear no comment from a lot of people. After the first story, or right before the first story ran, the district did release a short comment. This time, crickets, completely nothing. One question a lot of people ask is how much will the lawsuits cost? We're not sure at this point. It's safe to say they'll cost, at least the work that's gone into the claims and the lawsuits will cost tens of thousands of dollars. In our story, we know the cost of the Dr. O'Brien investigation, which was $8,000 to the Chester County IU. We know Dr. Brizola, his attorneys, he was reimbursed personally about $5,000 for attorneys he had taken on. Still some questions about that I'm unclear about. Some clarity from the district might be helpful, because that's he obtained his own counsel and then months later billed the district. A common email we got was a rumor that there was a quote-unquote coup to get rid of Dr. Brizola and school board members, and these 4 administrators were just people that didn't like them. While those rumors have been around, I haven't found any credible evidence of that. I've also found no evidence that there was some grand plot to overthrow the superintendent or school board members. I mean, up until December, it appeared Dr. Brizola wasn't coming back to the district. So I have some questions about that theory and how it makes sense. A lot of people thought he was leaving, so I'm not sure what the point of getting him out a few months earlier were. And even if there was some sort of plot, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because 3 of the administrators are no longer at the district or won't be come the new school year. And there's just some things that don't add up with that. I think that's more bluster of people talking online. And there were some claims in the story that Sherry Moret, Kevin Dorsey, and Fallington principal Brian Schaefer were put on leave, and they were paid for that leave. We're still looking into that. We don't have all the confirmed information. We do know Sherry and Kevin were put on a leave and paid. Brian Schaefer, he was also put on a leave. We don't know the full details. Sherry Moret and Kevin Dorsey, I've reviewed payroll records that show they were getting paid while they were on leave. We're still going to try to get some documents from the district to try to figure out what the deal with that was. Sherry Moret's letter to the school board, which we received a copy of, did insinuate that there was more retaliation after she filed her EEOC complaint. This is a new question that came through today. Somebody asked it on Facebook. I believe a reader, David, and a reader, Nancy, emailed us. The school district announced on their website, I believe today, that there's going to be a school board meeting on August 1st, which wasn't previously scheduled, or at least that most people knew of. And did having to do with the lawsuit or the reporting? I don't believe so, but I can't be certain until the meeting's over. The August 1st meeting was definitely added this week, and there was a previous meeting in mid-August that was set to take place, and that still will. The full contents of the August 1st meeting, we'll have a story on it, but I'm not sure all the details. 2 people asked this jokingly, will DJ Pauly D be the next superintendent? Not that I'm aware of, although he has been at the prom the past few years. Thank everyone for tuning in. I'd like to thank our advertisers for supporting us, the team that I work with here, and also our In the Know Club members. They helped initially fund the reporting for this, because this reporting took a long time. The first story took at least 30 hours. The second story took 6 months of work. We still have more to do. We have more stories coming. We've been talking to lawyers on how to get certain documents. But one of the things for In the Know Club members, it's a really cool benefit. If you don't know, our In the Know Club supports local journalism while rewarding yourself. If you like what we do, it costs money every day to send people out. We have reporter Liz Fisher out there working on a story right now. We just had John Fay out at community events. We previously had reporters Amanda Berg and Eric Martin at tons of meetings and community events, grabbing pictures. Elisa Bax goes to the parades and grabs photos for us. And the In the Know Club allows us to fund that reporting. And it also gives our readers, you guys, the chance to receive breaking news text message alerts, which people absolutely love. We're sending the reports from the field. If I'm there or if one of our reporters is at a scene, they're able to send an alert out to our In the Know Club members and say, hey, this road's closed, there's a fire here. And sometimes it can be 1 or 2 hours before a story's even posted. And we can include that information. It goes right to your cell phone. And also, as an In the Know Club member, we have monthly prizes and contests. We've sent people to Trenton Thunder games. We've sent them on the Bucks County Wine Trail, which is a great benefit. And we also are starting quarterly events. Our first one this month is News and Brews at Noble Earth next Monday evening. If you're an In the Know Club member, you have all the details on where it is and what it is. We're going to be talking about kombucha, and Bristol Borough's Bill Pezza is going to be talking about Bristol's revitalization as a top tourist destination in the county. So it's really a cool inside look, and you get to talk to newsmakers and talk to us there. And the In the Know Club really allows our most dedicated readers to take part in what we do, even closer than before, while supporting us. We don't want to put up a paywall and charge everybody if they viewed 4 stories or 5 stories and say you can't read anymore. I don't believe in that. So this is something really important, that if you're able to, you're able to put a few dollars, at the most $8 a month, forward, support our reporting, receive text message news alerts, be entered in contests, come to quarterly events. It's definitely worth it. We have a very low churn rate on it, so I think that says something about it. So make sure you join today on levittownnow.com, and we'll be posting some more about it in the next few days. Thank you, everybody, for reading. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we appreciate it. Local news matters.